My goal for the rest of the season is to not pick any team that plays in or around the state of New York. Oh hi, it's your old pal Dalby back for week number 11 in the NFL. Thank you for coming to check out the video this week. If you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe so you get all the videos all NFL season long, and check out the links in the description down below the video to make sure that you can find all the spreads, all the lines, and everything you need to make your own ticket and play along from home. Back in week 5, I said that I was in a New York state of mind, and I took Buffalo, the G-Men, and the New York Green Machine all to win their games. It went terribly. In week 10, I took both the New York teams again, and it went predictably just as bad. Lesson learned, New York is a football cesspool that eats money and craps sadness. In last week's video, the New Yorks left me at 1-2 on Pro Line and 1-2 against point spread. At least Minnesota remembered how to play football last week. Straight up in the video, including my pools picks, I was 6-3 and 10-4 for the full week if you checked out my picks online. That moves me to 96-50 for the NFL season, or a 65% pick rate, which is still top 5 at NFLPickWatch.com. Remember, you get a few of my detailed picks right here in this video that you're watching, but if you want to know my thoughts on all the games every week in the NFL straight up, make sure you're following me on Twitter and on Instagram. That's where you're going to find every game every week to get your picks filled out a little easier. Links to everything in the description. Division rival games are always interesting because even when one of the teams is playing at its worst, they always manage to seem to get fired up to come into those big rivalry games. Last week, Chicago and Green Bay did just that. Chicago, not a great team so far this season. Green Bay literally falling apart player-wise. Now Chicago has to do it again this week when they take on Detroit, another division rival in that NFC North. They're at home, but I don't know if that's going to help. The fact is that while Chicago's defense has done some big things and got them wins against teams like Carolina and Pittsburgh, the offense just isn't there. Their record could be so much better if they could just put up the points to match what the defense is doing. Mitchell Trubisky has a lot of promise, a lot of potential, but he's still too green to be carrying a football team in the NFL right now. Meanwhile, Detroit is a team that plays better on the road so far this season, and Matt Stafford and Detroit are still in the playoff hunt, so you know they are going to be fired up for a division game, but also there's a lot on the line here. A lot of people are pointing out Detroit's struggle to beat Cleveland last week, but they're also ignoring the fact that in the end, when the final score counts, they won by 2 scores. Slow start though it may be, and confusing as it may have been to watch Detroit trail at times to Cleveland, the end result is what matters, and I think that we're going to see something very similar here in this game, with Chicago's defense coming out on fire and keeping things low scoring at first, but the offense for Chicago is not going to spend a lot of time on the field. They're just not going to be able to get first downs, chew up yardage, chew up clock, and when that defense has had to play significantly more time in the game, they're going to get tired, they're going to slow down, and that's when Stafford and company are going to start to put points up on the board. It might not be domination throughout, but I think in the end, they're going to win fairly comfortable. Even though they're giving up 3.5 on the spread, I'm taking Detroit in this one. Denver is bad this year. It's weird to say, and for some people it's somewhat unexpected, but the fact of the matter is, it's true. They're bad. But sometimes the only saving grace for a bad football team is to play a worse football team. Enter Cincinnati, a worse football team. The Bungles are in full effect this year, with star players doing dumb things like AJ Green using a helmet as a punching bag a couple weeks ago against Jacksonville, and the team just struggling on both sides of the ball. It looked like Cincinnati was going to turn things around after week 2. They fired their offensive coordinator. Week 3, they still lost, but they put up points. Week 4, week 5, big wins. Then they had their bye in week 6, and since then, they've looked bad, and the only win they've got came against Indy, which barely counts. The bye seemingly ruined Denver as well, and now they're on a 5-game losing streak, but you look at the difference in competition between these two teams. Cincinnati has been getting beat up by not really great teams, while Denver has put up a struggle, lost considerably, but at least put up a small fight against teams like New England and Philadelphia. I mean, scoring around 20 points against New England, Philadelphia, it's got to be worth at least scoring 40 against Cincinnati. This isn't going to be the grand comeback story. There isn't going to be an ESPN 30 for 30 about how Denver turned their season around with a big win against Cincinnati. This is just a brief vacation from failure. but I'm giving up 2.5 and I'm taking Denver because I got no faith in anybody that plays for Cincinnati. Speaking of Philly, this doesn't really seem fair, does it? On the field, Dallas has fought hard to stay over 500 this season, and off the field, they fought just as hard to keep their star tailback Ezekiel Elliott in the lineup. But Dallas is now out of legal options, Ezekiel Elliott is out of appeals, and the suspension seems to be here to stay. 6 games without Elliott, and he's not just not in the lineup, he left the country to go train during this 6-week break. So that's pretty much Dallas and Zeke saying, all right, I'm out. See ya in December. And in their first game without Zeke, the boys got run over by Atlanta, a team that has not looked themselves at all this season. Of course, Zeke being gone wasn't the only big problem for the boys. Tyron Smith, the left tackle, was not there as well with a groin injury. Dak Prescott got hit like a shopping mall speed bump just over and over and over and over. Now, Philadelphia, they're having a year. One of their best in a long time. A long struggling fan base could not be happier. This is the best since Donovan McNabb was under center. So even in an ideal scenario where everyone Dallas is hoping to have play is playing, I still think in this one I would have to take Philly. But this is not ideal. Smith may or may not be in this game. Zeke will not be in this game. Dallas is not playing up to their potential, and everything that's going on the sidelines and in offices and off the field seems to be a distraction, and that just has to have Philly's defense licking their lips. Top 10 in sacks this season. They watched last week's game going, oh, we're gonna get some of that. Carson Wentz is playing as a quarterback that's being discussed with names like Tom Brady for best in the league right now. Everything is clicking in Philadelphia, so click with Philadelphia. Give up 3.5 points because somehow that seems like a steal, and take the win. Like I said, it just doesn't seem fair. Now, before I start with pools in this week's video, I want to congratulate the dude that came up to me in the bar Monday night, picked all the winners perfectly. 11 for 11 in games that he picked straight up, 2 games that he boxed, that's 13 for 13. He took home almost $2,000 on a $20 Sports Select ticket. I'm not naming his name in the video because I don't need the internet trying to go after this guy for his money. Let him enjoy it, but I'm just saying, that's fantastic. It's what we try to do every week in this video and when we go buy our tickets. Now, if you don't know what boxing is, I mentioned that he boxed 2 of the games. Essentially what you're doing with a box is you're paying a little bit more money for your ticket to take a game off the board. Basically, when you box, you're saying, I don't know who's gonna win between this team and this team, so I'm just going to ignore it. You're basically buying multiple tickets to equate, if this team wins, I've got something for that. If this team wins, I've got something for that. You can box up to 4 games, and of course, the value that you pay for that goes up every time. A regular pools ticket is $5. Box 1 game, it's 10. Box 2, it's 20. $40, $80 you could spend, but again, if you nail it, you could be winning big money like this guy did, almost $2,000. Some winners this year have won over $200,000 for being the only one with a perfect ticket. So this week I look at games like LA and Minnesota, where that's probably going to be a back and forth game. I know who I'm taking, but a safe bet would be to box that game. Maybe Green Bay and Baltimore. Not going to be as exciting a game, but should be equally close on the other side of the spectrum. A box can save your ticket when you go this week 13 of 13, and then a field goal at the end of the game can cost you that money. Boxing, suddenly, that $5, $10 seems really worth it. As for my actual pools picks this week, I'll take New Orleans at home, and I'm going to take Minnesota unless you're going to box them. My pick is going to be that they'll win that game. On the road, I like KC, I like Jacksonville, I like New England, and I like Atlanta to win the Monday night. So who do you got? Let me know in the comments down below. You can tweet at me, you can hit me on Instagram, comments anywhere on the internet. I'm very easy to find, and like I said, all the links to find me are in the comments down below or in the description down below. You can also let me know what ticket you've got. Take a picture of it, throw it up on Facebook or on Twitter, tag me in it, and let's see how you're doing this week. I just want you to make some money. That's what this whole video is about. So have fun, bet responsibly, go get your ticket. If you need any help, watch this video again, or just check all the links in the description down below for your lines, your spreads, your game lists, everything that you need, including a chance to be an MVP with Sports Select and get all the lines and spreads as soon as they're released. Also, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel so that you're not missing more videos. We've still got 6 6 weeks of NFL football left, and I'm going to be along for the ride for every last one of them. Thank you very much for watching. I'm your old pal Dalby. I'll see you in week 12. If you want to make sure that you're getting all the line spreads and game lists before anybody else, you got to be an MVP. Follow the link in the description of this video to sign up with WCLC to get alerts, notifications, and emails directly to you with everything that you need to play.